Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am in the car waiting to turn on this light, and it's one of those long lights. It takes about 3 lights to get through to it, so you know how that is. And sorry for the glare, it's pretty sunny here. So I'm heading to work, and I thought I would put up a quick video on my mother. Since it is coming up on Mother's Day, and by the time this goes up, it'll probably be a day, maybe a day before Mother's Day or on Mother's Day. I haven't decided when I'm gonna put this video up, you know, just due to time and editing and everything. But I thought that I would reminisce a little bit about my mother and the influence that she was in my life. My mother passed away when I was 40 years old. So quite a while now. She was not that old. She was about 64. She had just turned 64. And she was ironically filling out her Social Security papers to start the process when she got very ill, and she was admitted into the hospital, and she had a angioplasty at first, which didn't really go well, and then the doctors decided to do a open heart surgery, and it went from a bypass to a quintuple. I think it's quintuple. It's like 5 arteries, and she was in surgery for like over 8 hours, 8 to 10 hours, and she came out of surgery. She lingered for about 7 days or 8 days in a coma, and then she went into cardiac arrest and finally passed away. So that's the history of that. I just wanted you guys to, you know that. But anyway, not to make it all somber and all that, she was a very, very strong-willed woman, a very energetic woman when she was younger, very opinionated woman, and being of Hungarian descent, she knew her stuff about healthcare. I mean, not healthcare, but skincare and healthy living, basically. And I think she instilled that in me. You know, I hope she did, and that's one of the reasons that I'm passing on my wisdom to you guys, because of her wisdom to me. And so I think I would, you know, like to reminisce a little bit about some of the skincare she did and some of the healthy things that she did. One of the things, of course, was the hydration. I can remember ever since I was a little kid, her pushing liquids down my throat, and she would always say, you want nice skin, you have to have, you know, liquid and hydration. Lemon water was a big thing for her, and I don't know if I told you guys this. By the way, I'm turning on the light now. I don't know if I told you guys this, but she was very big on getting water with lemon all the time. Even if we went out to dinner or to a restaurant, she was not a drinker. She never drank anything that I can remember. She just did not like the taste of alcohol at all. Never had a beer. She might have had some champagne for a birthday occasion, and she would sip on it. She really didn't even like it. Or a glass of wine, and honestly, she didn't like it. She never ordered it. But the one thing I could always say is I always saw her order water with lemon or bottled water. She would ask if there was bottled water at most restaurants. Even when we went around Europe and we went on our trips, she could order, I swear, bottled water in multiple languages. Any language. She knew what the word, how to say water, and preferably how to say bottled water. And then she would do some gestures for lemon, or try to you know, say the word lemon in multiple languages so that you would get that. So, you know, I remember that, and I guess it's instilled in me that, you know, wherever I can find bottled water or water with lemon, I will definitely, you know, try to order it. So that's number one. Number two is her skincare. As far as creams, she would always have cream on her. I hope this glare is not like driving you guys crazy. Let me see if I can put it over here. There you go. She would always have cream on her face every single day that I can remember. It just depended on how heavy the cream was. One of her favorite skincare creams was Helena Rubinstein. I don't even know if they make that product anymore. I don't know if that company is in business anymore. Maybe they are in Europe. I don't know. But one of her favorite creams was Helena Rubinstein. And even in those days, we're talking in the 60s and 70s, it was extremely expensive. I think it was something like $50 and up for a Helena Rubinstein jar. I don't know how many ounces it was. You know, I never really paid attention. And then the company would run specials, I believe, once or twice a year, where they would have a discount on the Helena Rubinstein creams. And she would literally stock up with my grandmother. My grandmother was very devout in the same cream. And they would pool their resources. They would put whatever, now this thing is in the front here. They would pull whatever monies that they had, and they would literally stockpile this cream just in case, so that they wouldn't go, you know, run out of it. And they would probably go through, I'm thinking, at least 4 jars a year, if not 5. I would say at least once every 2 to 3 months they would go through this cream. And she would use this cream on her face, sometimes on her hands, depending on, you know, if the weather was cooler or not. So that was another thing. The other thing that I learned from her is using rose water. So as a toner or a sprayer on your face. She loved the smell of rose water. She applied it as a toner. She was Hungarian, so she used to call it rózsavíz, which means rose water in Hungarian. And she would get it from all over. I don't know specifically. She would just go to a store, I think, and buy it. It was readily available. It wasn't one of those things where you had to order online or anything. I think a few times she might have gotten it from Hungary, or, you know, through some relative that packaged it up for her. But more often than not, she would get it, you know, locally. So that's one of the other things. Another thing I remember her using constantly is hats. She would have straw hats and canvas hats, but mostly straw hats with pretty flowers on it, and bonnets. And she would never go out of the house without having a hat on, no matter where we went. From the time I can remember, she would always wear a hat. And one of the reasons is, she didn't like the sun beating down on her head. She was always, oh my God, it makes my head so hot. She would always like touch her head, on top of her head, and say, oh, my head, it's boiling, it's boiling. I don't know if she suffered from headaches because of the sun or what it was, but I know she always had a hat on, a straw hat at least, kept the glare out of her eyes. And she would also say that it was for sun protection, so it was like a natural sunblock, sun barrier when she went outdoors. So that's another thing I kind of remember. I'm not very good on hats. Hats kind of bother me. I just know that they're on my head, you know. It's just one of those things that it's like, it's this thing on my head now. The other day, I know I have to be better about it, especially with the summer coming up. I might actually go and get myself one of those, what do they call those, Outback type of hats, you know, like the Aussie type of hats, the floppy hats for the summer, because I do plan to take the dogs for a lot of walks during the summer out in the sun on the Beltway here on the Greenway, which is like a natural sanctuary kind of walk that people do here. Oh, this thing is like half down. Sorry guys, I didn't know that this was kind of like flopping down on you. Probably my eyes were not even there. But yeah, so she used to wear a lot of hats, and hopefully, I don't know, I guess I'll pick up the trend of wearing it. I don't really do it, you know, that often. And then what was the other thing? As far as health, bananas. I remember as a kid always being handed a banana. I actually have a picture of me sitting on the beach. This is, I think, in Atlantic City. I must be, I don't know, 3, 4 years old. And every chance she got, she would stick a banana, peel it halfway down, and stick a banana in my hand, call me a little monkey, said, do like the monkeys do. What do the monkeys do? Do they eat bananas? How does the monkey eat the banana? She would make a game out of it. And I would sit there eating a banana, thinking to myself, I'm a monkey now. I'm eating a banana. I'm a monkey. You know how kids are. Kids have so much imagination. And I would eat the banana just because it was a fun thing to do. So I don't know why she liked bananas so much. I think they were, more often than not, it was just portability. It was a fruit. It was something she could stick in her shopping bag or pocketbook or something, carry it along for me, and then just, you know, shove it into my hand and be done with it. So I remember that. The other thing was apples. She always had apples with her, and maybe that was a little harder, I don't know, to carry around, but I don't remember the apples as often as I remember the bananas. Bottled water, of course. She would always have bottled water. Again, even in her pocketbook, she'd carry a bottled water. She'd pull it out any chance we got. If we were walking around, we sat down, she would have a bottled water. She would know where all the stores are everywhere, literally around the world, to go in and get a bottle of water. It was just uncanny. What else do I remember from my mom? Let's see. She loved lipstick, all types of lipstick, but her favorite color was like a deep red maroon lipstick. She was definitely kind of like the Marilyn Monroe type. She definitely loved bold colors, so bold lipstick. She was not big on eyeshadow. I do remember her using, this is funny, I don't know, gals, if you remember, if you're of my age, she had mascara that was on this tiny little brush, looked like a miniature toothbrush, and she had a tube. It was a tube of mascara. It wasn't waterproof or anything in those days, but that's how mascara came. It didn't come in a you know, with a wand in a bottle. It came in a tube. It was a black ink type of thing, paste maybe, literally like in a very small tube. Think of it as a miniature toothpaste, but of tiny hole in it. More like, if I could describe it, it was the same type of tube that they sell now for eyelash glue, I think. That kind of look, with a very tiny hole at the end of it. So only a tiny amount came on. And she would go ahead and put it on the brush, and then brush her lashes ever so gently, and she would take a long time doing each and every lash and build it up. It looked phenomenal when it was done, but man, it took forever to sit there and do that. But it would last on her face, and then she would take it off with cold cream, regular cold cream, or Crisco. That's another thing. I think I told you guys way back, one of the things that she really liked as far as taking her makeup off, and in a pinch, if she didn't have the Helena Rubinstein, or you know, she was trying to pinch pennies or something, she would buy a huge tub of Crisco lard. Now, the unflavored kind, obviously not the buttered kind, but the unflavored kind, and it was the heaviest lard. And she would use that to wipe her makeup off. She would use that as a night conditioner for her face. She would use that for her back of her hands, her elbows, anywhere. Kind of think of it as a Nivea kind of substitute if she wasn't using Nivea. And I don't remember her using Nivea all that much. She might have here and there, but I don't really recall it, at least not in my, youth. I don't recall it, but I do remember the Crisco. I remember having the Crisco tub there and her doing it. It was on her nightstand, and that's what she would use to wipe off her makeup with tissues and everything. What else do I remember? She loved makeup. She would always put on makeup. She loved all types. Loved the mousses, loved the creams. Didn't like the powders that much. I didn't see her powdering herself that much. I think in her mind, powders meant that you were dehydrating your skin. And she never felt that putting mineral powder or a lot of powdering on the skin was a good idea. She used to say that it dries your skin out. You don't want to put powder on because you'll look like a prune, especially when you're older. So I never saw her really powder down or matte her face. If anything, she had a kind of a glow and type of a shine on her face because it was, she had moisturized underneath her makeup. So that's one of the things I remember. I'm trying to remember more things, but I don't want to take up too much of your time. Just really good quality stuff. She didn't do anything special with her hair, so I don't remember things like that. She did wear false eyelashes. She was one of the people that really gravitated to false eyelashes in the 60s and the 70s. Carried it all the way into the 80s, I believe, even when it was not popular. And it always astounds me that today's younger generation and young women are now going back to wearing false eyelashes, because it was such a weird thing for me to always see my mother applying lashes every day. If she went out, she had lashes on. That was a given. And I never thought that they were that popular. I don't wear them personally. I don't know how, and I think I'd be like over the top with my eyes if I did something like that. But I remember she was wearing them way after they were out of vogue. She was still wearing them. And it's funny to watch it retrograde and come back in vogue now and come back so strongly. I think she would be very happy if she were alive today to go into these stores and see the phenomenal variety available now for false eyelashes. I think she was down to maybe having 2 or 3 different varieties, maybe in the 80s or 90s when she was still around, because it wasn't popular and nobody really carried them anymore. But I think she'd be happy now, because of all the different varieties out there. And I think that's it. I think that's all I wanted to mention about my mother. Again, she was a great beauty, wonderful person. I'll try to find some pictures of her and put them up here as I'm talking about her, or at the end of this video. I'll have to go ahead and scan some things in for you guys to see what she was like. And I hope you enjoyed this small tribute to my mom. And if your mom has passed, or if you still have your mom around, enjoy the time that you have with them, because every minute is precious. And you can't turn back the clock. You really can't. Once they're gone, they're gone, no matter what. And if you have, if you're having issues, if you don't see eye to eye, don't sweat the small stuff, is what I wanted to tell you guys. Don't sweat the small stuff. Don't sweat about if your mom's meddling in your life about raising kids, or how you should act, or about your spouse or boyfriend, or if she's opinionated. That's irrelevant. That's small stuff. You know, the main thing is they're around for you, and you can never get them back when they're gone. My mother and I had arguments and things about life, and she didn't agree with some things that, you know, went on in my life, and I fought tooth and nail with her sometimes on a lot of things, but we always loved each other, and we never abandoned each other. We never moved away and didn't talk. Or I would always call my mother. I was up here in Atlanta, she was still down in Florida, and she would visit with my dad a number of times a year. We would always call. And then they actually did move up here to Atlanta for a while to be with us when I was raising my son. So yeah, the support was definitely there. It's just bad that, obviously, it's sad that she didn't live long enough to see my son grow up to a mature young man and a handsome man. She would have loved to have seen him at this age. My son was 5 when she passed away, so, you know, he kind of barely sort of remembers her. Obviously, how much does a 5-year-old retain, you know, as far as grandparents are concerned? So anyway, guys, that's all I wanted to tell you. I'm about to get to work now, so I'm starting my day. I wish you all a wonderful, wonderful Mother's Day. If and when you're celebrating with your family, I hope that you have many blessings and make many wonderful memories on this great day. And I will be going out with my family and going out to dinner and enjoying their company. But it's always melancholy and bittersweet because my mother isn't around. I do go to visit her. She is interned here in a cemetery up here in Atlanta, so I do go and visit her usually on the morning of Mother's Day or the day before Mother's Day. I always bring flowers and I always visit her, and so it's kind of bittersweet. I do that, and then I go and celebrate my own Mother's Day with my family. So I love you guys. Keep well. Sorry for the glare again, and I will talk to you later. Bye bye.